There's also another interesting side of this movie about what this means in regards to fandom.
Yeah.
And I had an interesting takeaway where I was like, in a way, there's more integrity to cult fandom than popular fandom in a weird way.
100%.
And especially in the scenes where they go to the horror conventions, one of the things that I took away was that it sort of illustrated how when you blow something up, it sort of inherently loses its value. And then when you go back to say like these little things at these small towns with people who happen to love this movie, it's not really like that. They have a deep-seated love for the movie in a way that those horror junkies who just love seeing Freddy kill people don't have. It's like that Troll 2 means something to those people that Nightmare on Elm Street will never mean to those people just because it's become a party to them.
Were you bothered by the fact that it was ironic fandom in some cases, though?
No, in a way, well, they actually explored that where it's like we just love it. We just love it.
I think they actually explained the appeal of this film in a way that I hadn't necessarily really considered. Like we edged on it when we talked about Troll 2, but I don't think we ever fully delved into it. Which was the fact that, yes, this is a bad movie. Yes, it's silly and stupid and poorly made, and there's all sorts of issues with it. But the thing that sets it apart is its watchability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
true. It is so easy to watch.
Yeah.
And even though it's falling apart, it's never boring. It's never painful. You're never sitting there just like, oh, when's it going to end? Like, they watch it 10 times in a row, some of these people. And they're 100% right. It's very watchable, very exciting, hilarious at times, on purpose, not on purpose, you know? And I think that is the thing that, you know, I don't think they like it ironically, actually. No. I think they like it for a reason different than the director intended.
Yes.
But I don't think it's ironic. I think they understand that it's bad and everything, but I think they genuinely like it.
I think that's exactly it. I think that's exactly it.
Okay, because here's how I'm thinking about this, and my stance has always been.
Are you thinking fucking hipsters? They like it because it sucks.
Well, there is an element of that, but sure. No, I have always, you know, my philosophy on this. I think we talked about this with Terror of Tiny Town a couple weeks ago. There is no line between ironic and genuine. It's just all the same thing. Liking something ironically is the same as just liking it, and there really isn't a difference. So that's always been my stance. I also think, though, being a fan of something, particularly culture, and sports is the same way. When you're a fan of something, you adopt that fandom in order to describe something about yourself.
Yes.
It's shorthand as an identifier. So when I say I'm a Star Wars fan, what does that really mean? It doesn't just mean I like Star Wars movies. It also means I really like reading Star Wars books. It means I enjoy mythology. It means I enjoy specificity. It means I enjoy a hero narrative. Like, it says something about me as a person. Yeah. If I'm a Game of Thrones fan, it might mean that I'm a more cynical consumer of art, right? It might mean that I like something a little more mature and political. It doesn't just mean I enjoy watching Game of Thrones, the TV show. So when you...
Or, you know, even it could also just mean something as simple as, especially with pop culture, I like this thing. If you like it also, then we have something in common.
Yes. But it's beyond that, though. Because it...
Not always.
Well, listen, I try to be not a stereotype when it comes to my fandom. I try, but I find like 99% of the time, I can pick out the Star Wars fans in the room.
Sure.
I can pick out the Trekkies in a room because, like, they want to feel included in some sort of group and they want sort of a shared characteristic amongst people. That's why I don't like being a fan of anything. Because the second I do, or the stuff I like being fans of, I don't want anybody else to be a fan of it because then I feel like we have something in common. And as I just said, that bothers me.
You don't want to be a fan of it.
No, I don't. I want to be special. I don't want to be, but actually, you know what this you see this all the time in is music. Like, to be a fan of the Talking Heads says something about you. To be a fan of the Beatles says something about you. To be a fan to be a Deadhead, for example, says something. A Jimmy Buffett fan says something about you. What are these people trying to say about themselves when they say, I like Troll 2? That's what I'm trying to figure out. What do you think it is?
Well, I don't know. Because the thing is... When I look at these people, it's easy for them to just say we just love it honestly, and we don't really care about all that other hoopla and stuff. It doesn't necessarily say anything about their lifestyle in a weird way. I mean, there's plenty of people who have probably seen this movie and or are, you know, well established who love it. I feel like when something gets too popular, you sort of lose your way with it. Like, I feel like those who love Star Wars now, like, still love Star Wars even after everything that's happened with it. Like, if they love it the same way that they did when they were kids, I don't think they're being honest with themselves. I think the fandom has sort of corrupted them in a weird way. Yeah.
What do you think, Nick?
I mean,
It's a
liking. There is an argument for liking something just because it's popular, and the inverse, liking something just because it's not popular. We know there are people who do this. We know there are people who we would describe maybe as a hipster type, who might like this just because it's not the popular norm and they want to seem different.
But
because they want to say something about themselves. I think that's right. That's what it comes down to, is that it's a way of describing your own identity.
Well, and it could just be,
language.
I don't like popular things. I'm more complicated than that. But
Right, exactly right.
I also
Yes.
don't think that is, I think that is not the rule. I think that is the exception, not the rule.
Is that not the rule with the Troll 2 fans?
I think they just genuinely like it, though. That's what I'm saying, is that, like, I
think these people are us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are we then? Okay,
We
that's
like
an excellent question. What are we?
We like deconstructing things. I think that these people, I think watching Troll 2, you can really deconstruct a lot about film. In a way.
And a lot about people too is the other thing.
Yeah, watching that thing fall apart in that way is the same reason people like The Room, and the same reason people like Max Magician, and I don't think that is the type of thing you like ironically or to seem cool, or I think it's an appreciation for something larger than what it is. It's the process.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Yeah, because you're right. I wouldn't describe that as ironic.
Yeah.
I would describe that as like genuinely interested in the human condition.
And this is what I'm getting at too. Like what you were describing is almost something that you buy into in a weird way. It's like if you're a Star Wars fan, you do this, and that.
Yes.
And you can't just say
shorthand.
You can't just say, no, I just love the movies.
Right.
Whereas the Troll 2 fans are just like, no, I just love this movie. I don't care about all the other people around me. It's just fun to be locked into that thing.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, when they were on camera and they were saying, oh, we watched it yesterday, I'll watch it again. Like, yeah, they were showing off for the camera a little bit.
Sure.
They were just as guilty as the actors from Troll 2 for getting their 15 minutes of fame. But I don't think that... So, like, if this documentary filmmaker was going around saying, hey, I'm making a documentary about the making of Troll 2, and then these people suddenly became Troll 2 fans to get their 15 minutes of fame, that'd be one thing. But they were fans before.
That's a good point.
This was their time to shine.
That's a good point.
But they were fans before this was made.
And it's not like you gain much cred walking into like the fucking library and being like, hey guys, I just watched Troll 2 for the 10th time today.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
It's not like you're getting
these people genuinely enjoyed introducing other people to it.
Yeah. You get nothing out of being a Troll 2 fan aside from just being a Troll 2 fan.
Right.
There's no cultural baggage attached to it. The only thing you can do is be like, yo, check out this crazy movie I saw.
I think we're getting at something here. I think you're right. I think it's a little different.
I think today in 2020, Troll 2 has taken on a greater meaning.
Still,
than
though,
it did.
but if you walked into a bar with a Troll 2 t-shirt, no one would know what the hell you're talking about.
Most likely not. But, people in the Mystery Science Theater 3000 space or whatever would. And I think 10 years ago, that was not, when this documentary was made, it was just starting to become the case.
Yeah, but this is what I was talking about before. That I was saying that like cult films in a way mean more to people than the popular films.
Right.
Like the Star Wars and Star Trek fanatics like love it, but again, I feel like in a lot of ways over time they've forgotten why they love it so much. Like
but in fairness too, the Star Trek fans, they don't just love the Star Trek movies. They love Star Trek Voyager Season 2, Episode 13.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They love it in a way that a regular, like, oh, I'm a Star Trek fan, that's... What does that really mean?
It means that I have an academic appreciation of this thing that is seemingly unconquerable.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's look at all of the scholarship, look at all of the mythology under this Star Trek umbrella.
Right.
I have mastered all of it. That's what a Star Trek fan is telling you.
It's
when
much
they say I'm a
deeper.
Star Trek fan.
Yeah.
Is the point though. It's not just
Because there's
shallow.
baggage. No, but the reason why it's not as sincere, or at least I perceive it to be not as sincere, is because there's all this cultural baggage that comes along with being a Star Trek fan. There's none of that with Troll 2.
No.
You're 100% right. These people are not proving anything.
Yes.
When they say I like Troll 2.
Exactly.
There is no desperation whatsoever.
Don't even get me started on Star Wars fans.
Yes.
And,
For the
and
love
this
of
is
God.
why I tweeted this literally the other day. I constantly say this. Fandoms suck.
You
I hate
have
fandoms.
a war on fandom. You've been waging
Fandom
a war on
is the worst
fandom.
thing in the world.
And but this is why like when I run across someone who loves like The Big Lebowski or Blade Runner as much as I do, I know that movie means something to them that like a Star Wars mega fan will never really understand.
Yeah.
There's a deep-seated love for that movie, for those movies, that it's just not exactly there in Star Wars. Like Star Wars has been like just fucked into the ground essentially by these people.
Right.
They just
And let me be honest with you,
get
that's
enough.
sort of the curse
Yeah.
of even Game of Thrones, if you think
Yeah.
about it. If Game of Thrones did not become as popular as it did, if it became just a little less popular, you know what I mean?
Yep.
It still could have been considered mainstream, but not like A-list mainstream.
Yep.
If it was a little bit less popular,
Well, the other problem with Game of Thrones, too, is now you have both sides of toxic fandom. One is that I'm hopping on the bandwagon because this show is popular, but then there's also the book readers that are like, hey, you butchered the source material. You'll
Well,
never be
books-
true Game of Thrones fans like me. So you
yeah,
really...
books to movies is always a challenge.
It is the worst of both worlds there. It is the toxic fan that's trying to prove how smart they are, and the bandwagon fan that's trying to prove how cool they are. And neither side is genuine.
No.